And it begins. West Ham United's transfer window is now underway, with Thilo Kehrer expected to be announced as a Monaco player over the next couple of days. Fabrizio Romano provided an update on Twitter earlier, stating that it was a done deal between the two clubs, that Kehrer had already travelled to Monaco and he's going to be having his medical today, Thursday afternoon. So I think it's just a waiting game now for West Ham fans, for Monaco to get things tied up at their end and to get the signing announced, because it feels like a done deal. Fabrizio Romano is a really reliable journalist when it comes to football news anyway, but when it comes to West Ham news, I think he's even more reliable, and I have a bit of an issue with that. We're going to deal with it at the end of this video because it's more of a geo grievance, just something that's a bit of a concern for me, quite frankly, because this video is about Thilo Kehrer. It's about the expected transfer of Thilo Kehrer joining Monaco. But before we get into it, if you're new around here, please do subscribe to Hammer's Chat and also drop a like on the video by clicking thumbs up. Helps out this video, helps out the channel, makes me very happy. But that's not the only thing that would make me very happy tonight, because this transfer has made me really happy. I've been quite impressed by it, actually. Now, there's almost three parts to it. There's the transfer deal itself, there's the player in Thilo Kehrer, and then there's the consequences of Kehrer leaving West Ham United. And that's what we're going to discuss. But first, let's do the actual transfer part of it. So Kehrer will join Monaco on loan until the end of the season. However, they have to buy him permanently in this summer. It's not an option to buy, there's an obligation there, so they will be buying him for 10 million in the summer. Basically, we've sold Thilo Kehrer for 10 million. It's just that the payments don't start until the summer. So I think this is good news. I like this transfer, actually, because as we've seen with certain players, and currently right now at the club there's still certain players where we allowed them to almost rot at West Ham. Their value depreciates and they become a problem that we can't shift them on because of their wages. They're not worth anything, and because they're not worth anything, it's almost like not worthwhile for West Ham for getting rid of them. We might as well just keep them around and have them as an option in the squad should we need them. But it feels like we've been a bit ruthless with the Thilo Kehrer situation, that is, get rid of him while he's worth money. And this is what's made me really happy, because previously we've been rubbish at selling players. One thing I've always criticised Sullivan for, I think the good side of it is we retain our best players usually, not always, but usually we've retained our best players for good periods of time at West Ham under Sullivan. But I do think we're rubbish at selling players for good value, that when we do move them on, they're worthless. I mean, Masuaku left not that long ago. We've all forgot about him because we had to loan him out. We didn't want him, then we had to loan him out. We've had to practically give him away. Same with Felipe Anderson. We sold him for 40 million. In the end, I think we got about 2 million for him because we allowed him to stink the place out of West Ham. Then it was followed up by a horrific loan move. Then it was a good loan move, but it was just that his value was so low, we practically gave him away for nothing. We've just done it in the summer again with Vlasic. That's why, although I didn't want Scamacca to leave, I wanted us to see Scamacca at West Ham for another year. The club did well to do what they did in the summer. They got rid of him while he still had transfer value, and they've done the same again with Thilo Kehrer. I like it. I really like it. And I think what it does do going forward, it lessens the gambles of the players you're buying. So if you're going to buy a player and after a year or 18 months it's not worked out for whatever reason, you're ruthless enough to cash in on that player, it minimises the loss that the hit you're going to take. Because like I said, Felipe Anderson was a £35 million loss that we had to have on him. Sebastian Haller was a £15 million loss. So we can get rid of those big costs. But that would only do us in good stead going forward. So I'm impressed by this. Now, the interesting thing in regards to Kehrer is that Tim Steidten's going to close the deal. Now, I know you might be thinking, this rumour's out a few days. Where have you been the last 4? I've been in Scotland. That's where I've been. That's why I've not done a video about it. Charlie's done one. Gondor's done one. It's my turn now to give my opinion about the transfer and Thilo Kehrer. So there's a little bit of catch-up going on. However, so Steidten's gone out to Monaco to close this. And what I think's interesting is, to our knowledge, or the lack of evidence so far, which suggests he's not done it before. So we sold Vlasic, we sold Declan Rice, we sold Gianluca Scamacca. In the summer, he wasn't involved in any of them. We know, or depends who you believe, the rumours were Karen Brady and David Sullivan. Brady in particular was the one responsible for the sale of Declan Rice. The Scamacca one, there was no news regarding it. You know, Rob Newman was heavily involved in bringing Scamacca over. He got on the plane with him. But in terms of selling him to Atalanta, there's no proof that Steidten was involved in that. And the Vlasic one was... Are we that bothered? I don't know. But there's nothing. In regards to the incomings at West Ham, certainly his fingerprints are all over them. In regards to Jared Bowen signing a new contract, certainly he's there, he's posing. He likes a photograph, does Tim, doesn't he? That's part of my issue at the end of the video, eh? But we'll get to that. And yes, the Tim Steidten video's coming. It's coming next week. I've been waiting for a break between games. I don't want to squeeze it between all our videos and stuff, so it'll be next week. Anyway, Tim likes a photograph, doesn't he? But he's gone to Monaco to close this sale. And it's a good deal, don't get me wrong. Basically getting back what we paid. And this is the other thing with Thilo Kehrer. We didn't want to buy him. I think it's fair to suggest that 18 months ago, he wasn't really someone we were looking to sign. We went to Ibrox in a pre-season friendly with our new £35 million Nath Gerd in the team. He got injured. We discovered he was going to be out for a few months, which he was. He was out for 4 months, up until the World Cup, basically. So it's a case of we need to get someone in now. I wouldn't suggest Kehrer was a panic buy, but I do think he was an emergency signing. Slightly different, maybe. But I think Kehrer was someone we got in on a needs-must basis, and he's done his job. But we basically recouped what we paid for Kehrer. Good business. Steidten's gone there to close it. Now, there is a sub-topic within this, which is that he's actually gone over there to potentially look at or negotiate deals for players that we want to bring in from Monaco. Obviously, Fofana's the main one that's touted round. I don't know enough about any Monaco players. I'm not going to start commenting on them and saying who I'd like for Monaco. I don't want any of them. Well, that worded that wrong. I don't have a desire to see any of them at West Ham because I don't know a thing. I've heard of them, of course I have, but I don't watch French football. If we sign them, great. We don't sign them, I'm not arsed. It's difficult to be upset about not signing a player when you don't have an opinion on them. I find it hard. You can get excited about them, sure, I would be. But to feel like you've missed out, it's difficult to do that. But I do think the fact that Steidten's gone over there would hint that we're maybe looking at them. And I hope we are, by the way, because if not, I don't want him in Monaco. Get back here and start working on the deals we've done, because he got it wrong, right? Steidten, for all the credit he gets, and I've got a lot of credit for Tim Steidten. The last few days of the summer transfer window, he got wrong. He went to Brazil to get a striker and failed to get the one he wanted. He didn't get him. The striker Steidten wanted from Brazil, we didn't get him. He didn't get him. And you could suggest, or I will suggest, that as a result of that, we missed out on potentially doing any sort of business in the last 2 or 3 days of the transfer window, because Steidten was over in Brazil. All eggs in one basket, possibly. And well, he came back with an empty one, didn't he? Anyway, he's gone to Monaco to close this, potentially look at players. I'm sure there's going to be rumours linking us to Monaco players over the next few days. We'll cover it as and when it happens. But I wouldn't tune into my opinion. If you see a video from this channel saying, hey, West Ham linked to Monaco players, I wouldn't watch it, because it's going to be me sat there saying, never heard of him, don't know anything about him, never heard of him, don't want him. That's going to be the opinion. Anyway, Thilo Kehrer, the player. I like him. I do really like him. It's possible to like the player and be happy with the sale. That's where I'm at. When we brought him in, I was quite excited. I was happy with the signing, but it was based on what he'd done previously. So we signed him from PSG. I didn't watch him for PSG, but what I did do was watch him a bit for Germany. I like international football. I'm one of the few that do. Prior to that, I seen him for Schalke in the Bundesliga, and I thought he was young when he played for Schalke, but I thought he was an erratic player, a bit rash, comes out of defence a little bit too often, but strong in tackle, really, really good in possession. I think that's what we got, actually. I didn't think it changed that much between Schalke and PSG. And he came in, I think he did a good job for us. I think he was excellent at centre-back when we first signed him. And then his performances tailed off, as they were going to, because he started really good for us. Was out of the team, came back in at right back. He was horrific. He was a really bad option at right back. We played him at right back far too many times for my liking. I thought he stunk the gaff out in that position. He had some other games at centre back, and I thought he was all right in them. So at centre back, I was pleased with him. At right back, I thought he was dreadful. Honestly, I didn't want to see him play at right back. I thought he was a hindrance, a major weakness in our team when he played there. And I think his best position is the right of a back three, which you did see him play for Germany, like in that position. We don't play a back three. There was talk, when we signed him, we may move to a back three, and that might get the best out of a Gerd as well. It's not occurred. We've flirted with it at times under David Moyes, we know that, but this season, while he's maybe changed the makeup of the midfield and the attack, the back fours remain the same, not in personnel, but in terms of the shape and how we play. That's been the way Moyes wants to play the season. So there's almost not a role for Thilo Kehrer, so moving him on makes sense. I did warm to him, by the way. I did warm to him with the celebrations of the Conference League final. Not those ones. I wasn't there. Well, I wasn't even at the parade, to be fair. But the footage that came out from the parade, he was Mr. Character, wasn't he? So I think I'll miss his personality. And when he first arrived, Moyes spoke very highly about how he was already a big voice in the changing room, and I liked it. So potentially a big loss, but uninvolved on the pitch, so it just makes sense to sell him. And like I said, I've already said, ruthless, and I like this. I think the form of Mavropanos, I say, softens the blow, because I don't think anyone's devastated, but I think that's the point. Because Mavropanos has been pretty solid over the last month, and certainly over the last 2 or 3 games, him and Ogbonna played really well. Well, 2 games for Ogbonna, he was awful at Anfield, but the last 2 games, Ogbonna's been really good. I think the form of those two at this time, I think, has made the fan base to be a bit about Kehrer leaving. Had those two struggled in the last few games, but hang on a minute, Zuma's broken, Gerd's away, Ogbonna's old, and Mavropanos is still settling in. This is a bad time to be selling Thilo Kehrer. But because actually, while Zuma is always broken still, but he's still our best centre-back, Aguero's got a big question mark. We'll deal with him in another video. But Ogbonna's rolling back the years over the last couple of games. And Mavropanos looks like he's settling in now. He looks like a good centre-back. I think there's a bit of a whatever about Kehrer leaving. And perhaps maybe not a big desire or call to see us buy another centre-back. Obviously, I've seen us linked to plenty of centre-backs, and I think it might depend on the question mark player of Neil Fagerd. But for now, I'll be surprised if we move for an additional centre-back. I think we'll just go with the 4 that we've got. Because Kehrer hasn't been involved that much this season. And when he has, it's not been necessary. He's come on in a couple of games, but he didn't have to come on. We'd have been alright without him appearing onto the pitch. At the start of the season, I would have liked to have seen him given a go like in the old Alvarez position, defensive midfield, just actual defensive midfielder rather than alongside Souček. He came on, I want to say it wasn't Brentford, I can't remember, Luton away I think it was. He came on for 10 minutes maybe in that position. At the start of the season, Moyes was inclined to bring him on late on in that defensive midfield role, but he never got a chance. He might have turned out to be crap, I don't know. I would just like to have seen it. But anyway, he's going, or he's gone, whatever. We move on. And I think what this does do is perhaps kickstart the transfer window for us. There's those rumours that we need to sell before we buy. And like I said, in terms of finances, we don't get the money until the summer. But we can now start planning for something. But what this does do, warning, I'm waiting to talk about the squads, and not everybody likes it when I do this whole squad quota thing. If you don't like it, this is where you disappear, unless you want to hear about me complain about Fabrizio Romano, then stick around for a couple of minutes. But in regards to the squads, we've got 1 space in Premier League, 2 once Kehrer goes, so that's good. But in terms of the European squad, we have no spaces. Once Kehrer goes, obviously that frees one up. But vitally, it frees one up for a non-homegrown player. So whoever we sign, as long as they're eligible for Europa League, they can go straight into the squad and use Kehler's spot. So it almost gives us massive scope for the January transfer window, because the homegrown quota is something we need to deal with. But we don't really need to deal with it until the summer. We can get away with worrying about Creswell and Ings until the summer. But for now, Kehrer leaving means we can bring in anybody, including African strikers that play for Stuttgart, if we wish to. The option's now there. Now, time for my moan. But if you don't want to hear the moan disappear, subscribe if you're new to Hammer's Chat, drop a like on the video and all that, and I'll see you in the comments. In regards to the moan that's becoming a bit of a concern for me, Tim Steidten is obviously good friends. I say good friends. Steidten's obviously got a working relationship with Fabrizio Romano. What Steidten gets in return, I don't know. Is it just Romano tweeting his pictures of him on planes to put out there in the footballing world as Tim Steidten's this god when it comes to sealing transfers? I don't know what Steidten gets out of it. I don't know. But I feel, without having any concrete evidence, I think it's safe to say that Steidten speaks to Fabrizio Romano, and the longer it goes on, he's only been here for 9 months. Well, he left Leverkusen in March, but officially at West Ham, July onwards, the 6-7 months he's been here now. Romano knows. Whenever West Ham are doing something transfer-wise, Romano's there. Now, he's always been there, but he's now first. And like I said, the proof is, Romano said that Steidten was becoming the West Ham's technical director. And the West Ham in the know said, well, not yet, it's not done yet. And Romano said, yeah, it is. It's done. Romano stuck to his guns, and he stuck to them big time, and it's proven correct. Steidten then came in. And there was almost a bit of 180s going around on the West Ham-based journalist and in the nose, which is, yeah, Bill, we never said it wasn't going to happen, we just said it wasn't done. Which technically they were correct, it wasn't done, but Romano was very much, it's done. It's just not announced yet, it's done. I think he was right. Now, the only reason the only way you do that is if you're confident. And who to make him more confident than Tim Steidten. And then when we signed Kudus, there you go, Romano's got the photo of Steidten with his arm around Kudus. Jen's there. Jen, if you're watching, you were there. You were on the plane as well. Jen was on the plane. Kudus' agent, she was there. She was part of the deal. She did her part. But Steidten was there. Romano's got the photo, he's tweeting it, right? So I think Steidten likes a bit of the old PR without doing it himself, and he uses Romano. Who better than the guy with the biggest following when it comes to football news? He's bigger. I'd argue Steiden's bigger than Sky Sports. Romano's bigger than Sky Sports when it comes to news. He's the one. He's the Don, isn't he? So this Kehrer stuff comes out via Fabrizio Romano. I'm thinking, well, it's hard not to believe it, because it's come from Romano, and my assumption is it's come from Tim Steidten. It might not have done. It might have come from somewhere else, because like I said, Romano had West Ham stuff pre-Steidten. It feels like he's quicker now and a lot more accurate and exclusive with it. I'm not sure I like this, but just because I like Tim Steidten, I'm excited about the fact that we now have someone that's half decent in charge of transfer. It doesn't mean I'm suddenly going to be okay with the club leaking stuff. I don't like it when Sullivan leaks stuff. I can't change my mind and say, well, actually, because it's Steidten, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, and all that. No, actually, I don't like it. Just because the guy has a big woolly scarf doesn't mean I'm going to be like, yeah, Steidten, leak whatever you want. I don't like our transfer stuff getting leaked. My only hope is that he's not daft. Steiden's not stupid. If it comes to rumours, if there is actually someone we're after, that's not going to come out. It's probably only going to come out when it's a done deal. That's when Romano might get his exclusive from Steidten. I guess I'll just have to stomach it. But I don't know. There's just something about it that just makes me uncomfortable. And I think it's because I just really dislike leaks from the club. And now we've got a technical director who feels a bit like he's almost like Sullivan's equivalent when it comes to putting stuff out into the public domain and stuff. I mean, it's good. Listen, as a content creator, as a YouTube person, putting my West Ham stuff to one side, it's fantastic. I've got really reliable news to make content about. Happy days, thank you. But as a West Ham fan, I don't like it. And this will always override this. That's why I don't do videos on some topics, because I think you're prioritising creating content over being a West Ham fan. I don't like that. Now, some people say, I think you've done it for this, that. That's fine. But my moral compass, where I think I do my best to do it, and that's why we get told stuff, I don't put it out there, because it doesn't do any good as a West Ham fan. As a content creator, it would be fantastic. We get lots of views. Therefore, views equals revenue. This is my job. I need to generate revenue. You know, it might help with brand deals in future, but at cost of being a West Ham fan. And the West Ham fan don't like these leaks from Romano. But anyway, find out through Fabrizio Romano who we're signing in the January transfer window at some point. But there you go. There's my little rant. I feel better. Got it off my chest. But if you enjoyed the video, please do drop a like on, subscribe new around here. Thilo Kehrer, thank you very much. Not quite cult hero status, an important member of the Conference League campaign, a big character on the bus, and best of luck to him. Some transfers just don't work out, and I think he was a player that we needed at the time. We just don't need him anymore, so we've sold him, got our money back. Good business by West Ham for once. Catch you in a bit.